So I'm Robert Powell. I'm a 66-year-old guy, married with two kids of my own, two stepchildren. I work in the dental industry, and I have done for many years, helping dental practices drive, pursue their business and providing exemplary care to their patients. So I have a good understanding of dental, and that's really sort of my background.
Thanks so much. And you're based in Milton Keynes, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just outside Milton Keynes. Moved back here from France a few years ago to be nearer my family and grandchildren now. So it's been great.
So obviously today we're talking about mouth cancer and the kind of campaign to raise awareness around it. And obviously you yourself have had personal experience. Would you mind just telling me a little bit more kind of about what happened to you?
Yeah, sure. About 2017, I had an opportunity to move to France with my wife and set up a B&B, although I was still working for the dental company doing remote consultancy. But unfortunately, I was diagnosed. I'd only been there a few months, and I was diagnosed with mouth cancer. What had actually happened is I'd come back to the UK in the beginning of the year, and I'd had a persistent sore throat for quite a few weeks. I did pop into a GP and get it checked out, but I was just prescribed antibiotics. I went back home to France and came over again a few months later, thinking it's just a sore throat. It'll go away. Like most blokes, you just ignore it. It'll go away. It'll get better. Well, it didn't. And the next time I was over in the UK with a dental practice, I just asked them to have a look at my throat. And within 5 minutes, they were referring me to hospital in terms of saying, you need to get that checked out. There is definitely a problem here. So at the hospital, I was diagnosed with a grade 2 cancer of the right tonsil, which surprised me. And actually, I was in denial for quite a time because, look, it's not going to happen to me. I don't smoke. I've never smoked. My family do, but whether it's passive smoking, I don't drink as excessively. But I thought I'm in a low risk group here. It's not going to happen. So I don't think I realised the impact of that. With that, not just the cancer would have, but the treatment that it would have on the quality of my life going forward. So luckily I'm here to speak about it. I'm fine, perfectly fine from a cancer point of view, but I do still suffer from some of the side effects of the treatment, which can be life-changing for people. So anything I can do to raise awareness to help people avoid that will be good.
And so obviously you received this diagnosis, and then what was the process from then to getting where you are now? Where you're now, are you in remission? Are you cancer-free? What's the sort of status of your...
I'm just coming up to, so it was 2018, so I'm just coming up to 4 years, so probably 5 years before they say I'm in complete remission. I have regular checks every 6 months, but with a local hospital. So from that point of view, I'm fine. I don't have cancer or any symptoms of that at all. So it is just that ongoing effects of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So I received quite an extensive course of radiotherapy and chemotherapy over a period of 3 months, I think, in total. And during that time, I also had something I think is called a gastroscopy, which is a feeding tube, because with the mouth cancer, it affects your ability to eat. And that's one of the devastating problems with mouth and throat cancer, is that you lose weight considerably. But luckily I was in a position where I had actually food supplement bags, which kept me relatively fit, kept my weight up to what it should be. And I was able to withstand the treatment very, very well. So what I still suffer now, my main problem is dryness of the mouth, because it affects your saliva, and lack of taste, which for somebody who was living in France, eating cheese and drinking red wine, was the most devastating effect. And I still have it. I live with it. it's probably never going to get better. It's one of those side effects that does affect particularly head and neck cancer sufferers. So yeah, I take a number of things for that. I've got a little bit of hearing loss and various other side effects, I think, from that treatment. But as I said, the most important thing is I'm here and I'm with my kids. So.
Yeah, and of course, but it does sound particularly grueling, the radiotherapy, the chemotherapy, the use of a tube to feed yourself. I imagine that it obviously took a physical toll, but it takes a mental toll as well, particularly when you are entering a new kind of phase of life and exciting adventure and you're not expecting something like this to happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was a catalogue of disasters, really. Moving to France was a new start, but we obviously moved probably at the wrong time because we came in right at the beginning of Brexit, and also with the COVID-19 pandemic. It didn't do too much for trying to run a tourist business, I have to say, in France. And I was ill, so my wife took the brunt of caring for me and trying to run the business. And that was a physical as well as a mental stress for her and for both of us. So in the end, we did end up moving back to the UK. So, but going every day. You have to go every day for the radiotherapy over a number of weeks. So that was just the physical stress of all of that and the chemo. And you had to put up with quite a lot of physical intrusion, so we say, physical restraints with food bags and all sorts of stuff. Your normal life stopped, absolutely stopped, for at least 6 months, and then you think you're going to recover completely. Well, I did. There was no perception that it would be ongoing after that. So to discover that I had to. I would have a problem with taste and hearing. And also, I have to wear a tooth guard with fluoride in it overnight for 5 years. So that's to help just keep your teeth strong and stop them weakening. So, but again, if you think about these things, it has a lasting effect. So on your life will not be the same. If you're lucky enough to be caught early, great. Your life will be good. I mean, life's good. It's not a problem. But it will change it. But the most important was, I say, I'm able to see my children, and I think that was the main impact that caused me to think this is really serious. When my kids said, "Is this going to be the last Christmas that we see you?" And that was like pretty shocking. And I'm thinking, of course not. It's nothing serious, but actually it is. It really is. So people who don't think they're in a risk group really need to get themselves checked out when they go to the dentist, or if they have any problems when they have a sore throat. Don't ignore it.
Yeah, and that's something that's such a good point, I think, which is that I'm not sure people are really familiar with the symptoms because, as you've already mentioned, they are so equatable to just kind of, general feeling under the weather. So what are the sort of things people should be looking out for, and what are the steps they should be taking to ensure that, if something is a problem, they can catch it quickly and then remedy it?
Well, I think you can self-check your mouth. I mean, it's if there's any odd lesions, ulcers, sore patches that have been lingering there for more than 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, just get it checked out. So, because it could be nothing, but it could be something. So it takes many forms. But mine was fairly difficult to detect on a tonsil. It was only a small patch, but it was the fact that it was persistent. And as I say, I did the usual thing. It'll go away. I probably put off having a consultation for 5-6 months because it just wasn't convenient for me. I didn't think it was serious. I wasn't in the risk group, even though I knew about the risks working in the dental industry. It was, it was a shock. So, I think really it's just anything you notice that's unusual in your mouth, on the gums, lesions, sore, anything that's persistent is probably the main thing. If it doesn't go away, doesn't clear up within a matter of weeks, and you've used mouthwashes and various other things, then I would suggest you need to go and see your GP, or better still, a dentist, because the dentists deal with this every day. You know, they're looking into your mouth every day, and they don't just check that your teeth are okay. They do a full soft tissue scan, full soft tissue check, and that's really important. One of the main reasons for going back to the dentist regularly. Don't just go when you're in pain with your teeth, but go if you've got any concerns, or just go regularly for a checkup. So it's not gonna do you any harm, and could do you an awful lot of good.
Thank you so much, Robert. And then my final question is really just, what have you got planned for the future now things are essentially fixed, other than kind of, slight inconveniences that you still have to kind of cope with, but what are you hoping that you'll be able to do now that this is behind you?
Well, the main thing is to be able to move on with my life, really, support my wife. We're back in the UK, see the grandkids and enjoy them. I'm going to continue to work for a little while. I'm 66 now, but I'll stay working because I enjoy it. I enjoy the business. I enjoy meeting and working with dentists and trying to help them in what is a difficult time for the dental industry. And yeah, eventually I'll get to relax and do a bit more, but I'll continue to do some sort of voluntary work and try and create or try and spread that awareness. But that's the main thing. It's just getting on with life. Would I love to be able to drink a nice bottle of red wine again? Yeah, it may happen. It may not. If it does, it's a bonus. So.
Thank you so much. And then is there anything else that you wanted to add around maybe what you wish people would know, or what more could be done kind of before or during or even after for those going through it?
I think it's the main thing is, get it diagnosed early if you can. Trust the process. Lots of people go through the chemo and the radiotherapy. It will be physically and mentally tiring, but it's worth coming out at the other end. That's probably the main thing. Do understand that there potentially are long-term effects. You're not just going to walk away at the end of it completely. You might be free from cancer, but you will suffer from some of the side effects. But they do, they vary. I'm probably one of the in the smaller minority where it has had a more longer lasting effect on my quality of life in terms of food and drink. But it's definitely worth talking to people with the Mouth Cancer Awareness, the Oral Health Foundation, or Macmillan, any of those groups who can support you during this time, because there are people who've been through the same thing. They can help you, they can advise you, and they can reassure you that life will be good again.
Thank you so much, Robert. I think we're all done, as long as you're happy.
Yeah, no, that's great. Sounds good. Yeah,
cool.
Happy with that.
Thanks very much. Thanks so much for being so open and sharing. And yeah, hopefully it will kind of, inspire other people to go and get checked if they're concerned about something. So
yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, then.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.